Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to another great edition of the Frankie Slauson Show and my summer interview series called Frankie's Icons of Pop Culture. And today we got a pretty big icon for you guys. If you're into professional wrestling and you remember a guy in the mid '90s who wrestled under the name Adam Bomb, or if you remember later on in WCW where he wrestled as Wrath, or even later in the later days of WCW as one half of the Team Chronic, well, I give you Mr. Brian Clark. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, hey, it's definitely an honor to be able to chat with you. You're just one of those guys that I really wish that the WWE would have gave you a really big push. You know.
Yeah, I felt he definitely could have got a bigger push. I think they had plans for that, but they sort of backed out on a few things that they said they were going to do, and it didn't happen. So I ended up leaving and going to work for TBS, which was WCW.
Oh, yeah. And that's just the thing. Nowadays, everybody wants to be like the next John Cena and stuff. And back in those days, back when you were wrestling, everybody wanted to be almost like maybe even like Hulk Hogan or maybe even like Shawn Michaels or somewhere. But you did pretty well in your career. I mean, you multi-time tag team champion and just all around good wrestler. You're built. And how did you get started in professional wrestling?
Well, of course, as a kid, I watched it and was really hooked on it and enjoyed it. But I really didn't get the opportunity until after, once I finished high school, I went to the military. I was a police officer in the military, and from there, I walked on to Central Missouri State University, got a full scholarship, football scholarship there. And then from there, I met Ox Baker while I was in college, still playing college football. And he introduced me to Jody Hamilton, and then after I graduated college, I moved down to Atlanta, and Dwayne Bruce and Jody Hamilton trained me at what I eventually turned into the power plant, but at the time it was not called the power plant.
Oh, you mean the days at WCW before it was known as a power plant? Okay.
Yeah, it was actually an old carpet warehouse. It wasn't even. It was one ring and no heat, no air. It was definitely a throwback.
Oh, sure. And you got trained pretty well, I suppose, especially if it's I've heard Dwayne Bruce, when he would train people, he would definitely it's almost military style, almost like.
Very much so, because he was in the military also, and I just followed his lead and listened to Jody and listened to Sarge, and they both very knowledgeable, and they trained me really well. I needed a place to go to learn, practice, before I really, took the next step.
Oh, sure. And that's kind of great that they had that you had an opportunity to do that, because I'm sure trying to find somebody to train you, like I know a lot of other people have gotten trained by like Killer Kowalski and stuff like that. Was it just something that just worked out where they were able to train you and you just stayed there or something like that, or how did that whole?
Well, what happened was, like I said, when I graduated college, I called and made sure that they would give me a shot. And so Jody Hamilton, with WCW, Jody Hamilton said, "Yeah, come on down." And so when I finished school, I packed everything I owned and moved to Atlanta permanently.
Oh, okay.
And so I was sort of taking a big leap of faith there, so to speak. But yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. Well, that's cool. And then, how did you eventually go from the getting trained with the Sarge to eventually going to the WWF?
Well, in Atlanta, that area in the south and southeast, there's a lot of independents and stuff that are running. So I would work every show I could, every chance I could get. I'd work shows, and eventually I worked a show, and Paul Orndorff, I worked him on the show. And he was also working in Smoky Mountain at the time, so he put in a good word to Jim Cornette about me. And then Cornette had me come up for Smoky Mountain, and I try out. Or not even try out, I just had a match.
Yeah.
And Cornette really liked me right away, and so that was really my first break, was thanks to Paul and to Jim Cornette, both companies. in Smoky Mountain.
Okay. Yeah, Jim Cornette's a very well-known name out there for those of you wrestling fans who are big on wrestling. And Jim Cornette should be a big name. He trained like Yokozuna back in the time when you were in the WWF. Then.
You said Cornette did?
Yeah, Cornette trained Yokozuna around that time when you were in the WWF the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was out of work that.
Oh, he managed Yokozuna. I meant. Did I say trained? I meant managed.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm aware of that. Yes.
but okay, then when you got into finally got to World Wrestling Federation, how did they decide that you're going to be called Adam Bomb?
Well, I tried out for those guys. That's what I was at the Smoky Mountain. They called me up for a tryout match, start with the called dark match, of course. And I had it, and they hired me on the spot the first night, basically. And they said, well, go home and finish up your bookings and stuff, and we'll call you with a gimmick. Well, they didn't say it that way, but they said we'll call you with some ideas and stuff.
Sure.
So, they came up with a few things, and they also came up. They pitched me the Ringmaster, which was later Steve Austin's
Yep.
and the other one was Adam Bomb. And I thought of the two. I was thinking that Adam Bomb, I could do more with that than I could the Ringmaster. So that's the direction I went.
Okay, yeah, and I can remember some of your classic matches, whether it be with like Razor Ramon or I think you took on the 1-2-3 Kid. You had a lot of matches in your early career in the WWF anyway. And what were some of your most favorites that you liked the most?
While I was up there at that time,
yeah,
person, I would probably say. Working Yokozuna on Monday Night Raw was really big. And then, let's see who else. Bret Hart, of course, Undertaker. I worked those guys a lot. Oh, yeah. So those probably the top three, I would say.
And that's just the thing, that's why I was kind of surprised that they didn't give you a big enough push like they were, even if they were going to, why they didn't focus on that. Because I felt, when I used to watch you wrestle, that you're more you're not the jobber. You're a big guy. You're more the main event, and you're somebody that should be like wrestling, at least the last card of the night or whatever, and I just don't understand why they just never did that for you.
Yeah, I think it was, the whole thing with Click and everything, that really stopped a lot. That was a real political time frame there.
Yeah.
And I just felt that, I'd been lied to a couple of times, and I was like, I'm not real big on that,
Yeah.
I said, I'm being lied to. I'm not real big on that. I said, you know what? I think it's time for me to go. And I knew Atlanta, WCW, I knew they wanted me to come in because I lived in Atlanta, and I had sort of talked with Bischoff, and he definitely wanted me, and so that's what I did.
And then they teamed you up with who was that? James Mitchell and I forget the other guy's name now.
Chris Canyon.
Chris Canyon, and you guys were like almost like kind of like Mortal Kombat characters in a way. Wrath and Mortis, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what it was molded after. Was after Mortal Kombat, But it did, that little deal did okay. But I did much better as a single competitor, as just Wrath, away from the other gimmick. Just being myself.
Yeah,
that really got over pretty well.
And that kind of seems like what makes more wrestlers successful when they finally just decide that, what, I'm better off as a single wrestler because sometimes when you're a tag team, like I think that's what kind of happened with Legion of Doom. I mean, they're so well known for being a tag team, but when they went single, it's like, okay, whatever. But
yeah.
but to you, I think being more of a single guy, I think would kind of just help your career a lot more anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it was much better as a single.
And when you were in WCW, did you have a lot of favorite matches or opponents that you had?
You know what I did? I went on a run, undefeated streak of about 6 or 7 months where I was just really squashing somebody every week.
Yeah.
But I like working with Goldberg and Sting, of course.
Yeah.
those two guys that really sort of stick out that I can think of offhand.
And let's see, because I just recently moved to a town called Rapid City, South Dakota, which is like only 30 miles from Sturgis, South Dakota. When WCW had their Sturgis events, did you wrestle at any of them?
You know what? I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed that, which I'm sort of glad I did.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been kind of fun. I mean, Sturgis still, they just got done celebrating their 73rd anniversary, but I kind of wish WCW, or at least WWF after WCW closed down, would have continued with the traditional Sturgis pay-per-views, because I thought that was kind of a unique concept anyway.
Yeah, it was okay, but I don't think it was really that great for the for the fans, and I don't think the buy rate did that well. So it's hard to say,
Oh, so you're kind of looking at more of the financial kind of.
Well, I mean, I think it was a little bit of a tough sell, honestly.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I was a kid at that time, and I mean, I'm only 29 now, so as a kid and as a fan, as I've been pretty much the last 23 years of my life, I think that's a great concept, personally, anyway. But let's see now. Eventually, when WCW would close its doors, you tag team with a guy who I think became kind of one of your friends, the late great Brian Adams, aka Crush, for all you guys who remember.
That's correct. Yeah, I ended up being my best friend. Really, we loved tag teaming with him. It was, it was special. I don't know how else to say it. We were very much alike, and in and out of the ring, we got along great.
Yeah, and eventually Brian Adams would be like one of the many wrestlers that died young, and I'm sure that was a complete shock to you when that happened.
So that one time, my phone's beeping.
Oh, okay. When Brian Adams eventually passed away, how did you find out about it, and how did you react when you found out?
Man, it was really very. I found out I was at work. Someone told me, and then I called his phone, of course, and I think the Big Show's wife answered the phone, and then they told me what happened. So, yeah, it was very hard, very difficult.
Yeah, I suppose, and then it's like makes you wonder. It's like, is this kind of just a pattern that's going on? It seems like a lot of wrestlers, and I know this is like a big subject with people, and even what you hear on the news. All these wrestlers that die young because of either drug related or because of an accident or just because they're young. And luckily for you, anyway, that you're still with us and everything. And it's nice to know when certain wrestlers, even though if you don't, if they disappear a little bit, that they're still doing well and they're still alive.
Yeah. And, speaking of that, I was thinking about, I have a Facebook page, so anyone who is listening, please, you're more than welcome to check out my Facebook page. And there's a lot of talk. Just been added to the WWE alumni section, so there's a lot of photos on that also.
Oh,
and
sure.
I have a whole new line of photographs and stuff, and 8x10 photos and posters on eBay. So feel free to, tell fans they want to check my website, please do. And also my Facebook page.
Oh, sure, yeah. I'll definitely put the link down below to this interview, like I always do with everybody else that I have on, because I think it's good to any type of promotion is good for you, because you're one of those guys who I believe deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, even if you never wrestle. I mean, you're technically retired, but I still think that WWE should just say, hey, you know what, you're making I think you said you're going to be making your return at the Royal Rumble, I believe.
Well, that's the talk. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of rumble about the Rumble.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's really up in the air, but I'm open to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think
I worked out hard, and I take care of myself, and so I definitely I could do it.
So what are you been up to lately? Let's talk about what you've been up currently.
I've been in the gaming business, the casino business for about 8 years.
Okay.
Going on 9, actually. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing out here in Arizona. So,
oh wow.
So it's really nice. It's.
Did you ever think that you'd have to have did you ever think that pro wrestling would would it be something that you'd be able to retire off of and just never have to work again, or was this something where you just work again?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you just sort of, I'm not that person just to sit around and do nothing. So I would have to do something. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And that's that's sort of it. I just didn't want to do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever still make appearances at like independent shows, or are you completely done with wrestling?
No independent shows. I did New England Pro Wrestling Fan Fest
Okay.
about a month ago, and that place was packed. Man, I hadn't seen that many people in a long time.
A lot
So
of
it did real well. It was
oh, cool.
in Boston area. Yeah.
A lot of people remember you.
Oh yeah. I had a steady line for about 4 hours. It seemed like there were always people coming up. You know, we had a VIP type setup, you know, for us.
Wow.
So it was a real good deal.
Oh, that's cool.
Got to see a lot of people.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool, and especially when you realize that you're not forgotten, even if you don't wrestle no more. People will always remember. The real fans will always remember Brian Clark because
Yep.
you're
right.
You're the big wrestler. You're the 6'6", 290-pound wrestler that I mean, people will remember that, and I'm one of those fans too. That that's kind of why I wanted you on the show because I don't want your legacy to be forgotten.
Well, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And that's one of the reasons. Another reason that I did the eBay page is because a lot of times I don't get to make the personal appearances or wherever these.
Yeah.
If fans can actually get a photo and somebody sign it and really, they're not getting ripped off. In other words.
Oh, sure.
Fans get a good deal and they know that they're not. It's not a fake. You know what I mean? But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, and I appreciate you being on the show. Is there anything else that you want to say to your fans before we close out?
No, I want to say thank you for your time, and thank you to all the fans. Again, you guys are more than welcome to come friend me on Facebook, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you again, Brian Clark, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, bye. Take
All
care.
right, bye. Okay. And that was former WWF wrestler and WCW pro wrestler and independent pro wrestler Brian Clark, a.k.a. Adam Bomb, and as we remember, Wrath, and one half of the well-known tag team as Chronic with Brian Adams, a.k.a. Crush, anyway. Well, this is another great edition of the Frankie's Icons of Pop Culture summer interview series. We still got a long way to go as we continue the second half. There's some big guests that are going to be coming here before we end the series. And just because the series will be ending around my birthday weekend, which will be the weekend of September 30th, as we start the sixth season of my show on YouTube, doesn't mean that the series will be over. I'll still be doing interviews with people throughout the next season. I just wanted to do something that was kind of fun for the summer, even in doing the first half in Minnesota and doing the second half here in South Dakota. I think it's great to be able to still have guests and try to get as many as I can. Why not? So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and go check out Brian's eBay page. I'll put all the links down below as soon as I get them and as soon as this interview goes up. As well as enjoy all the other guests that we've had this weekend. We also had folk singer and legend Trini Lopez, as well as independent actor and producer Rex Sykes. And today we had Brian Clark. And who knows who we're going to get next week if we have anybody. I'm going to try anyway. We just wait to hear from my job at Safeway and wait for that background check to be taken care of. So, until then, I'm Frankie Slauson, and we will see you next time for another great edition of the Frankie Slauson Show and Frankie's Icons of Pop Culture interview series. Bye-bye.